Obsidian as a note-taking application has been on my radar for quite some time. I know that I would have really gotten quite obsessed with at least learning how to use Obsidian. I shouldn't say obsessed, but I was very interested when I was watching Curly's notes inside of his vault. I think that was one of the first times that I saw Obsidian in use, and I just fell in love with it. But since then, it's been on and off. It's very much, I come to Obsidian and I'm like, logically, I know that this is where my notes should be. This is the safest place for my notes in terms of having them as markdown files. And of course, I could use a different text editor. I don't have to use Obsidian, but it's just the most integrated one for, I guess, mainstream note taking, especially if you want to use your notes as a tool for thinking and to connect ideas. So my brain knows that I should be using, or I should have at least a backup of my notes in Markdown or plain text. Recently on Christmas Eve, my iPhone stopped working and I had lost some of the notes that did not sync via iCloud. And ever since that situation happened, I've just been a lot more cognizant of the fact that, okay, you need to kind of wake up and you need to at least have your notes, the most important ones, backed up in some way. And that's kind of how we are here now. I am exploring Obsidian again, and I just wanted to share sort of not only the process, but what my vault looks like as a pretty much beginner Obsidian user. As I said, I should not have said earlier that I was obsessed with using Obsidian. I was more obsessed with looking at other people's Obsidian vaults. That's what I should say. But anyways, I want to talk about why I decided, or at least go a little bit more in depth. I spoke about it already in terms of me losing some of the notes that I had in Apple Notes. I should say that it's not fully Apple Notes. It's not fully Apple's fault. It's not like iCloud's fault. But like a part of it was my fault as well in terms of not updating my iCloud syncing. But regardless, the first reason that I want to use Obsidian more, at least I want to have my notes inside of Obsidian, is mobile syncing. And mobile syncing really ties in with the offline mode situation for my personal use case, right? One of my main barriers as to why I did not use Obsidian was because I thought I had to pay for Obsidian Sync. That's until I realized, oh, I can actually sync with iCloud, just to drag the folder into my iCloud syncing from my laptop. And that is relative. I shouldn't say that's free because obviously I have to pay for iCloud, but it's not an additional cost to pay for Obsidian Sync. So once I realized that I could use Obsidian on my phone and not have to pay for Obsidian Sync, I was like, wow, this is fantastic. So offline mode is something that's important to me because I do not pay for mobile data on my phone anymore. I used to pay for it when I was working, but I'm home 95% of the time where I use my Wi-Fi. So I don't actually need to have mobile data. I don't need to have data on the go. So I would have, since I cut my data plan months ago, I realized that when I'm in certain situations in public and I would have been able to use, for example, Notion, where most of my notes were at the time. I could have edited my notes, added to my notes, etc. And the situations that I'm talking about, like, if you're waiting in a line, or if you're waiting at a bank, I recently had the experience of being at a wedding reception, having to go through the entire wedding process as a bridesmaid, and I really wish that I had my Obsidian vault with me at that wedding. Like, I could have made so many connections because I was essentially just sitting down there, not doing anything productive, or not even productive. I mean, I see myself in my vault connecting notes as not productivity, but just leisure and a hobby and enjoyable for me. So those types of situations, I really wish that I had all of my notes and I had access to syncing, to making connections between them, or even adding supplemental notes to them. So those are the two main big reasons. And of course, I want to have my notes very easily accessible as markdown files. I recently had a friend send me like their entire Obsidian vault, and that to me kind of just blew my mind. Like, I cannot currently, if I did want to share my vault with someone, like, I could not do that. I can't really do that in any other application. But beyond sharing a vault, I don't think many people would want to do that. I'm sure there are lots of personal things in your vault. Just the ability to have all of my notes in this one folder, be able to back that up on a hard drive, have it backed up on iCloud, that peace of mind is very, very much needed for me, given my previous or my recent Apple Notes dilemma. Moving along from the why, I think that we can talk a bit about my sort of use cases for Obsidian, which I did touch on already. Writing as thinking and connecting ideas. You will see in a little bit that my current vault, I don't have most of my notes from the app that I currently use, which is Tana. I love Tana. It's perfect, especially for literature notes. But I currently can't use it on mobile as well as I want to, and I can't use it offline. So those are my only two qualms. Once those things are sorted, then I most likely will continue to or keep using my notes inside of Tana. I plan to use both of them at both applications, Obsidian and Tana, but I just need to be able to make certain connections, as I said, offline and on mobile. Personal knowledge management, of course, is a part of that. I see that all as the same thing. It's a matter of the knowledge that I am interested in, and me being able to learn and understand that knowledge, go deeper into it. So yeah, let's now hop into Obsidian, and I will give you a bit of an idea in terms of the theme. I mean, you can see it here listed on the left. I mainly use the default theme. So if I open up Obsidian here, I mainly use the default theme. That is simply because it is extremely simple. I just love the simplicity of it. And I actually like that this shade of purple, this specific hex code of purple, shows up really well in links. I've tried other colors, tried to use my own green, and it just doesn't work very well. Maybe I might go with a grayscale sort of theme soon, but for now I'm just keeping it very, very simple. This other theme, so if I go down to settings here, there's another theme that I tend to switch to. So if I go to appearance, that theme is Anupuchin. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But this is another theme that I use quite frequently, or at least have been using since I started using Obsidian more frequently. It is quite nice. So if I go to a daily node, you can see the checkboxes come up in a different color that I have set. And the most important part that I like about, or the most important thing that I like about this theme, is these kind of panels, which you're all able to configure if you have the style settings plugin installed in your vault. So that style settings is a community plugin. I'm only explaining this because it took me a really long time to figure this out. Okay, I saw this theme on someone's Instagram story, and I was like, what app is this? Is that Obsidian? So I asked her what theme it is, and that's when she told me. But I still had to figure out how to configure it to look like this. And I realized that you had, doing lots of just searching in the Obsidian forum and stuff like that, I realized that you have to download this community plugin, which is style settings, and it lets you come into a theme and change lots of things. And specifically, it was the workspace that I changed in terms of tabs. There are so many settings here. If you want it to look exactly like how I have mine now, it's a matter of going to colorful frame and enabling that. And from there, you can just edit things like, I don't think I edit anything with file browser. You can edit the tabs, how they show up. It's just a matter of going into it and editing from there. But yes, if you are interested in knowing the specific, each of these parameters that I edited, just let me know, or I might just leave it as a comment, because I just knew it really frustrated me how long it took me to figure this out online. Anyways, I kind of digress there. So my kind of workflow for Obsidian thus far begins with the daily note, right? So I have it's kind of the same setup like in other applications, like Tana, for example. I have no idea why this color is blue. Yes, so everything kind of starts for me from the daily note, and after the daily note, I essentially go to the other types of notes that I have inside of my kind of setup, and they are mainly fleeting notes. So if you're familiar with how to take smart notes, it's the same type of notes. I've just kind of realized one other grouping. But my notes are basically fleeting notes, and they are also permanent notes. And I'm talking specifically here about Obsidian. Obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, I do use other note-taking applications, and they have different functions. But at least in terms of Obsidian, the notes that I have, they stem from my daily notes, so that's where I would start these notes. And I also have a third type of note, which are lists. and lists include things like grocery lists and things like that. Also, although I have transferred my grocery lists to TickTick, but there are other lists, kind of private lists, that I keep inside of Obsidian as well. Outside of these, the next type of notes would be literature notes. And the literature notes I actually prefer to keep inside of Tana, at least right now. Tana deals with literature notes really beautifully, and I am sorry I cannot let go of that workflow just yet. I'm sure that there will be a merging of my workflows. So once I am able to, I'm in the system more, but at least for right now, I really love Tana for literature notes. So as I said, in Obsidian, coming back to Obsidian, I start on my daily note, and then I take fleeting notes and I take permanent notes. Let me show you examples of this. I do think that I'm going to change the theme back. I think I'm going to change the theme back because just back to default so that you can see things clear, much more clearly. So an example is my daily note from yesterday. This first line is a fleeting note, I would say. It's just something that I thought of, something that I found. Yes, I wanted to save this link, but I thought that I did not want to forget it. And I knew that if I were to search in my vault influencer or assistant, that this will come up. So I would say that this is a fleeting note. This list here is a fleeting note, and these are fleeting notes as well. The permanent notes are notes such as these linked notes, wherein I expand more on some particular topic. In this case, it is meeting notes. So if I click Command and I hover over this linked note, you will be able to see a little preview of the note. I'm just going to digress very quickly here to show you that is a community plugin called Hover Editor. I am a beginner. I don't know if there's like some sort of core plugin that lets you hover as well, but this is the one that I found, and this is the one that I installed in my vault. I only have 4 other community plugins installed. The calendar, which you can see on the right here. I have the Hover Editor, which I just showed you. Periodic Notes gives me weekly notes, monthly notes, quarterly notes, and yearly notes, and I'll show you where those are saved. I already went through the style settings, and I also have tasks, which I will show you when I get back to my daily page. So, back to what I was saying concerning the permanent notes. In this case, this is a meeting sort of note. So I had this call, and these are the notes that I would have. These are the notes that I would have taken. Well, actually, the notes are written, so I need to actually bring them into my vault. This is what I would consider another permanent note, or I like to think of it as a working note. I feel like in my head, permanent notes are notes that are, I guess it's because it's of the name permanent. I don't feel like if this is a completed note yet. This is just my thinking and trying to process what I'm going to do with my career. or rather my lifestyle. So I think my brain hears the word permanent, and it just sees kind of stuck in stone, whereas I see this more of a working note, a note that is in progress. And this is just another meeting note here as well. So as you can see so far, I don't have a lot in terms of plugins or fancy things inside of Obsidian. What I do have in terms of queries is tasks, which is the community plugin that I just showed you. What this does, so if I go to my notes folder here, and I actually have this bookmarked because I don't want it to get lost inside of there. The task plugin actually looks across your entire vault, and it's going to show up any tasks, anything that you have with a checkbox in a list. So if I come here, this is how you do this query. So it's essentially 3 backticks tasks, and I'm asking it to show me everything that's not done. This is just a header 1 heading that I have up here, and then for the done is simply tasks that are done. So it's very simple. As you can see, my vault is very new, so I don't have a lot here. So that's the only kind of query that I currently use. I don't even have the data view plugin installed because I am not trying to confuse myself, or rather, I want this to remain very simple. Like, I want it to just be about taking notes. I don't want to get carried away with the themes and CSS snippets and all sorts of other things. I just want it to be focused on me and my notes. I'm not primarily using Obsidian for task management. I was just playing around with this in terms of the daily notes. So it's kind of an interesting phenomenon that once you use a daily note, you end up having tasks there. Primarily, I use Tana as my digital home base, and that's where all of my task management system is set up. But again, as I've started using Obsidian, it's very interesting how some tasks naturally come up here as well. So it's kind of how we work and how we interact with our digital workspace, especially in the zone of having a daily note or a daily node or a daily page. But anyways, I digress. So in terms of my sidebar and my folder setup, I have one folder for all of my daily notes that they will just come here. It is sorted based on the time that it was modified. I have a folder for those lists that I was talking about. Many of them are still in Apple Notes, and I need to transfer them over. And I have one folder for all of my notes. Every single note, this one folder is where they will go. And this is a sort of like you can direct where the file goes inside of settings. So if I go to files and links, you will see that I have, so you can direct where new notes go. So folder to create new notes here, I have it as notes, and also where attachments go. And attachments would be things like photos and videos, I assume as well, but I haven't done any videos. So yeah, I have a public desk folder for any notes that I may or may not want to share if I do consider getting Obsidian Publish or using one of the other workarounds like Quartz that I've heard about. So I have this one storage folder that contains attachments, which is the PNG photos. And I also have, this is my new note template. So it just has these properties so that I can put the date that it was created. And interestingly enough, you don't really need that, because if you just hover over the note, you will see the date that it was created. You can see the date it was created and date that it was last modified. But I do like having tags here for every note, and an area that I can actively link other notes. There are two ways that I've seen people linking notes. One way is with linking it at the bottom. So let's say I come here and linking it like this, and then the other way is if I were to highlight this particular phrase, and then I can link it directly within my writing. So those are the two ways that I have kind of seen people link notes inside of Obsidian. Okay, so the templates, this is where the template is. And then I have a time capsule, and the time capsule is where that periodic notes community plugin that we spoke about, that's where I have these folders for months, weeks, and years. So if I wanted to create a new let's say a weekly note, I can say open this week, and it has opened it to this week, and I can click edit mode and go ahead and add new notes for this week. It's really nice. All of them will be saved here. Apparently I have a note from week 51. This week was in I'm so funny. Okay. And I can also do the same with a yearly note. So, and a monthly note. So let me do the monthly note. So if you want to do a monthly review or have all of your sort of monthly goals, you can definitely do that here. I think I might actually do that here, although I do currently have a setup inside of Tana. But regardless, this is sort of the hierarchy and the organization of my folders inside of Obsidian. And to be honest, I think that's pretty much it. Otherwise, I don't think I really went into the tags. I have annual review questions. I have some notes that are in progress so that I can keep those top of mind, and I have some other high level tags that I frequently use. Otherwise, the last thing really and truly is the graph view, which I absolutely love. I mean, look at this. It's beautiful. Let me just zoom out. So the graph view I find very nice for linking ideas. Like what I would do, what I would do is, let's say I have a note open. Yes. Let's say I have a daily note, or maybe even another note that I was recently thinking about. Recently, I kind of was looking into numerology. I came up with my conclusion that it is nonsense. But if you are into numerology, then just ignore me, okay? So anyways, what I find very nice to do with the graph is to have the graph open up in one panel and have the note opened up, or whatever that I'm thinking about, in a panel to the right, and kind of just go through and see where I can make connections. So, for example, and you can do a lot of changing up in terms of the display. So I think I increase my link thickness. You can make that significantly lighter. But anyways, what I like to do is have my note up and just kind of see what other notes might be around or might be able to be connected, right? So this is probably a bad example because I have no other notes on numerology, but you never know. You never know what you might come across. Yeah, I don't think... This is the fun part because I can literally just pick into any of these notes. I don't know if I have anything saved here. Okay, I do. These are some podcast notes from a Tim Ferriss show. So maybe I was going back over this podcast episode notes and I was like, this person maybe spoke about numerology or maybe spoke about numbers. And of course, I can utilize the global search as well to search for any keywords, etc. So yes, I'm really liking Obsidian thus far. And I think that it really would... my workflow, this is just the beginning. I am excited to see how it develops and how it grows. But the main thing that I'm so happy about is that I can have my phone, like when I'm traveling to the gym or when I am in somewhere just waiting, and I can manually make these connections within my vault. That is the thing that I'm most excited about, and that's going to be all for me right now. If you use Obsidian, or more specifically, if you are an Obsidian beginner, I would love to see how you are structuring your notes or how your vault is structured. Let me know in the comments or DM me on Twitter. My DM's always open. And yes, I will see you soon.